Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking with another episode of Mech Warrior Online here. And today we're playing in Machete version 2. Yes, they're taking out another bushwhacker, and as you can see by the loadout, we have 3 SRM2s, an LB-10X, 3 machine guns, and a small pulse laser. So the theme here is constant, sustainable DPS. Very, very little heat emission. Every single time you do fire in alpha, it's very, very minimal how much our heat spikes. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, just constantly churning through the DPS, especially once we get within range. Now, in the meantime, we do have that LB-10 that does spread up to 594 meters that we can use for suppression and amplification from a distance. But right in front of us, right here, we have a king crab coming around the corner, and he's just getting plastered by my entire team. So we were able to put some shots down him. Excellent job getting him to retreat back towards the rest of his team. But we do want to get within range of using every single one of our weapons. So we are using that LB-10 here very early, but it's only going to escalate as this match does progress. So we're going to hop back over to the other side and just stick with the team as much as we possibly can, obviously until the battle really starts to develop and we can serve as a very, very nice distraction at close range. We have a lot of tankiness with this mech. It takes a lot of punishment before it goes down, and a lot of people have a hard time handling the bushwhackers because you just don't see them out there on the battlefield as frequently as you might see some other mechs. So if you do see them, just tread carefully. And right across the stream, we have Delta coming across. We have this Mad Cat right in front of us, along with a Catapult K2. And that Catapult is way out of position, not going back. And so is this Timberwolf. So everyone's focusing in on that Timberwolf. And finally, he goes down. Kappa is destroyed. The rest of their team is kind of making a half push through the arc. But as you can see, I probably put off 4 to 5 salvos just then and only got up to 50%. So now we're going to swing around the other way. We have some of the big guys that are sealing off the flank on the arch, but now we're going to take advantage of this and head towards the rest of their team on their left flank. And right in front of us, we have a Hunchback, a Huntsman, and a Battlemaster. We're going to go for the Hunchback. The Hunchback, we actually almost neutered him. Yeah, we neutered a majority of his weapons, so he's not really a threat anymore. But now we're going to change our attention over to that King Crab, who is still lagging behind, pretty much just waiting for one of us to make a wrong move so he can absolutely light us up. And now this Hunchback is coming back. We're just going to take him out really quick so that he can't inflict any kind of damage on anyone. And he goes down very, very quickly. Now I'm looking at the minimap, and a majority of my team is still over on the other side of the arch here. Now I'm going to get a flank on this Marauder 2C. Echo is right in front of me, and his friend the Blackjack doesn't even notice that I'm right there. So a couple more salvos, and that Marauder 2C goes down. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Blackjack. He's going to try and focus in on us as much as he possibly can. I am getting shot by that Battlemaster, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop back down into this little canyon here and just keep firing on this guy from within the canyon so that I can avoid any other kind of fire. Now this Blackjack finally gets taken down. My team is coming to the rescue, but now we're going to turn our attention finally on the Battlemaster. He is right in front of us, cord center torso, and we get the final kill shot on him. Turning around the corner, we have this Huntsman right in front of us. He has 2 UAC-10s, and he is going right for my center torso, but my team is able to help me wrap this one up and end the round. A fantastic first little warm-up round here in the Bushwhacker X1 Machete 2.0. 3 kills, 6 assists, 876 damage, 9 components destroyed. A great way to start off this video on Forest Colony. We stayed patient, we struck when we had the opportunity, and my team was able to rally around each other and finally get these guys down. That was the name of the game. That constant churning of DPS is what we were looking for, and that's exactly what happened. We didn't even overheat. We just constantly kept firing through, shaking those cockpits, getting our opponents all disoriented, and it happened to work out certainly in our favor. So a great first round. But let's head back over to the Mech Lab right now so we can go through the rest of the details about this mech, the build, the modules, everything you guys need to know in case you decide to build a machete for yourselves. Here we go. Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Mech Lab, where we're going to go through the details of the build, On the Machete version 2.0, so you already know exactly what I placed on it, what weapon systems it has, but we're going to go through the details of what this mech actually has to offer, and the logic behind how this mech actually came to be. Again, the Bushwhackers really stole my heart. I mean, as a medium inner sphere mech, you know, there was a lot of hype around it, a lot of people were excited about it, and I truly feel that this mech really did live up to the hype. It has fantastic hitboxes, great armor. I mean, it really stands out there on the battlefield and fits into every single bit of criteria that I look for in my mechs: durability, speed, and firepower. I always tell you those are the three things that you want to keep in mind on the battlefield: speed, durability, and firepower. And this mech provides a very even balance across all three of those spectrums. So let's first go through the details of exactly what this mech has to offer on the BSW-X1. So we have 4 ballistic, 1 energy, 3 missile, 1 AMS, and 0 ECM. It does have a lot of base armor structure on the center torso, left arm, left leg, right leg. So pretty much everywhere except the head. Now it does have a ballistic range bonus of 10%, and an energy heat generation bonus of minus 10%. So, you know, the ballistic range applies to everything. Whether, you know, so you know I'm using machine guns and that LB-10 on there, and that is applicable across all of those weapons. So all 4 of those, you know, hard points that this mech has to offer. And the energy heat generation bonus, again, it's only 1 hard point, so if you really want to cater to that energy weapon, it is right underneath the nose or the cockpit. So you do have to keep that in mind. It is below exactly where your line of sight is, but again, you do get that bonus of energy heat generation for 10%. Now, if we look at what I actually placed on it, you know what the loadout is, but exactly how I configured it as such. So, in order to get the LB-10 in that high mount, you do have to place the machine gun on here first. After you place the machine gun, then you put the LB-10 on there, and then you can just fill the other 2 spots with machine guns as well. Now, on top, the LB-10 does take up 11 tons. So, on a 55-ton mech, taking up 20% of you know, the allotted tonnage or the available tonnage in one weapon system, you know that you have to sacrifice in other areas. And I did exactly that. It's a high-mounted weapon. I know that I would be able to fire it over obstacles, over terrain, and use that pretty much as a primary or suppression weapon. Once I get to close range, that's when the rest of these weapons really come together and start peeling up and peeling off that armor of our opponents, and really incrementally, or exponentially rather, gives us that DPS. So, you know, it's constantly churning through the DPS on your opponents, and that's exactly what this build is all about. So, you know, you get the long range splat damage with the LB-10, just for some suppression. Let them know that you're there. You're putting down, you know, some fire on them, shaking the cockpit a little bit, but once you get within minimum range of these machine guns, the SRM2s, and that small pulse laser, you're just going to start to shred through every single one of your opponents. And as you saw, it is extremely heat efficient. So we have all 55 tons used. We have 70 out of 78 slots used. We have 368 out of 370 armor. All we did was take 2 armor hardpoints out of the head, and that's what allowed me to place the second double heat sink on top of the engine. Heat management, 1.56, so tremendously heat efficient. 12 total double heat sinks, 10 in the engine, and then, as I mentioned, 2 on top of the engine. 41.1 firepower, so it doesn't have an astronomical DPS by any means, but once you get into that close range combat, maybe later on in the match, or when you're making a push with the rest of your team, that's when you really start to churn through that DPS, as I was mentioning. Our speed, 95 kph. So as opposed to the original Machete, we are losing about 6 kph, which is not too bad. But again, you do have to take into consideration that we have this high-mounted ballistic hardpoint, which definitely sets it apart from the rest of the Bushwhackers. No jump jets or anything like that, and has an XL 300 in there. And the reason why I placed an XL, again, we need to fit all of the weapons in here. We wanted to fill out all of the hard points on this mech, and with 20% of it going to that LB-10, you know that if you wanted to fit all of this and have some tonnage left over, work with ammo and everything, you can, because the Bushwhacker has those armor buffs. you can really mix and match with this thing. And as I mentioned, the hitboxes are absolutely fantastic for an inner sphere medium. So, you know, you have the speed, again, you have the tank ability, and you have the firepower. Again, small pulse laser in the nose, so it only takes up 1 ton, keeps the heat management down, and again, it's for all that close range combat. And all 3 missile hardpoints are SRM-2s. You don't need Artemis for SRM-2s. So, I mean, it's kind of useless. There's two missiles coming out of those pods anyway. So really, you're going to group the 2 missiles together that much closer? I mean, it really doesn't make sense. So, you know, that's where I was saving some tonnage, going with the SRM-2s as opposed to the 4s with Artemis or the 6s with Artemis. So that's what I decided to work with. We have 2.5 tons of SRM ammo. We have 3 tons of LB-10 ammo and 1 ton of machine gun ammo. Now, as I was going to allude to before, is you do have the high-mounted missile hardpoint. You have the side missile hardpoint and the arm-mounted, or 2 arm-mounted hardpoints, but you have one that's higher than the other. And again, when you're using that kind of, you know, firepower, 1 SRM-2 isn't really going to do much of anything. I mean, it would be pretty useless. And the reason why I decided to go with all 3 being SRM-2s is because cumulatively, they have the fastest cooldown time. And again, when you're churning through that DPS, you have that tank ability to stand in there and face tank your opponents. That's when this mech really shines. So that's the whole intention around this build. You use the LB-10 for suppression until you get into close range, and then you use pretty much everything else. And then you use that speed to your advantage. Maybe if some of your friendlies die or whatever, you can get out of there pretty quickly with 95 kph. This is a completely mastered mech. So it does have speed tweak and everything. The new skill system is not yet into the game. I know that this will change, obviously, if you're looking at this past when it is expected to release, which I heard was next month. So, you know, it is going to be changing and stuff. But for right now, this mech is absolutely fantastic, and I love playing with it. Now let's check out the modules that I placed on here. So I went with Advanced Seismic Sensor and Radar Deprivation. Advanced Seismic Sensor is, it's a no-brainer. You have to have it. Within 250 meters of range, if they are providing any kind of vibrations in the ground, you'll know that they're there. And this is an ambush kind of mech. It really likes to just jump in there when all guns are blazing and really pick apart your opponents. So that Advanced Seismic Sensor is absolutely critical. We also have Radar Deprivation. So Radar Deprivation, again, we want to be hidden whenever we duck into cover. Again, being on the front lines, helping amplify that damage, we are guaranteed to get shot by our opponents. We're right in their line of sight, and they usually pick the first target that's in front of them, which does include this mech. So Radar Deprivation, absolutely critical as well. As for the weapon modules, SRM-2 cooldown and LB-10 cooldown. So we have a tremendous amount of heat efficiency on this mech. We have 3 missile hardpoints, all catering to those SRM-2s. And we want to keep firing through these missiles as quickly as possible. They give off the least amount of heat. They cool down the fastest. And, you know, using them in succession, constantly churning through that ammo is really what you want to do. You want to keep constantly shaking the cockpit. All right, so just keep that in mind. The LB-10, obviously, as that high-mounted weapon up here, we want that to cool down as quick as possible. Obviously, as we're amplifying damage from maybe from range or even when we get up close, we do want to use that splat effect to crit some components and get them off our enemy mechs. Consumables. Cool Shot 9x9 and the improved artillery strike. Again, just in case we are on the front lines, we do get some face time and a tremendous amount of face time. You want to use that Cool Shot 9x9 to cool down as quickly as you possibly can. And then the improved artillery strike. You can use that, obviously, either intentionally to place down, you know, damage on a very consolidated group of opponents, or you can use it for tactful purposes, you know, using it as a distraction as you get into a better position to help your team out, maybe get into a better position. But the reason why, and I do want to mention this, the reason why I went with the LB-10, the only way that you could fit this in the high-mounted spot is if it's an LB-10, a UAC-5, or lower. So pretty much these 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even think you can fit an AC-10 on this thing, if I'm... Yeah, it goes right down into that low spot. So really, these are the 2 weapons that you would want to use because they can be high-mounted. So again, when you see I place it on there, it does go directly into that high-mounted spot. But if you try and put an AC-10, an AC-20, a Gauss rifle, something like that, it's just not going to work. So just keep that in mind. That's the reasoning behind why it's an LB-10. You know, if it were a high-mounted AC-20, that would be awesome, but, you know, you can't, you know, dictate where those weapons go. Only up to the LB-10 has the capacity of hitting that high-mount spot. So that's the rationale behind it. I just wanted to clear that up in case anyone was curious. But now, it's time to hit the battlefield once, maybe twice more. I think we got a couple rounds left in the Machete version 2.0, and I think you guys want to see some more gameplay. So let's hop back out onto the battlefield and take out the Machete version 2.0 for the next couple rounds. Here we go. Alrighty guys, here we go. Second round is going to take place on Frozen City. As you can see, we are a couple minutes into the round here. I did take some long-range fire, but right in front of us, we have this Jaeger mech who has no idea we're right behind him. We're just going to keep churning through that DPS, getting him in that center torso, so we're right into the thick of it immediately as this video starts, and he's going to pop around the corner, probably has an XL engine if I had to guess, and yes, he does, so he goes down very, very quickly. Now we're going to change our attention over to this Griffin. This Griffin is right in front of us, going to come around the corner here, and here he is. He's going to pop me with a narc, but I'm going to use this building for cover just in case we do take any LRM fire, and I'm going to use that building while I constantly churn through the DPS on this Griffin. A couple more shots, and he goes down as well. So two very, very big kills on a medium and a heavy that were in our flank in Echo 6 right here in front of us. So that is huge. Now I'm just doing a little bit of stalking on my opponents, and they are right down below in Echo 5. Fox 5, it looks like a majority of them are, and I still am narked. Clearly have that extended duration on that narc ball, so I'm gonna have to stick this one out. It's finally off, but I don't know if the rest of their team is really gonna pay attention to me that much. They're probably gonna think that I'm gonna go back towards the rest of my team, but little do they know I am stalking and just waiting for the right opportunity to actually make it to that side of the battlefield so that I can take these guys by surprise. Now, I do have a couple of team members with me, but I'm not sure if they would actually push across with me just because I have a little bit more speed than they do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head across here. Now, they did get hit by a couple of my friendlies, so we did grab their attention, and it looks like they did exchange some fire back and forth. They did put a couple of shots into me, but I'm not going to let that stop me. Going to dip right into cover, use that radar deprivation to my advantage, and get away from the lerm. So hide amongst the hills here and just check out the minimap. So I'm probably gonna have some seismic popping up. Yeah, there are a couple on the minimap here. We have a Marauder 2C, and I may have overextended, but you know what? This is gonna be a testament to see how durable this mech really is. We're gonna go in one-on-one on this Marauder 2C, and he's coming right at me. He was at 75%, and we're just going to face tank this guy, finally taking him down. We got a little help from the rest of the team, but we face tanked, and actually we're not cored out at all yet. This mech is absolutely insane. I absolutely love it. We're going to go for the Timberwolf here. He has no idea that we're right in front of him, and he's just checking across long range. We're just putting a ton of damage into that side torso, and there he's finally starting to recognize that we are just rocking the cockpit, baby, and he does not like it one bit. So he's going to run back towards the majority of his team, and their entire team has not yet figured out that I am right next to him. So I'm just putting down some damage on a couple of them. This Warhammer finally took notice. They're all kind of scrambling, and that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted them to have sheer panic on their side, and only this Warhammer is focusing up on me. He's getting a little bit of help from that Timberwolf. The Banshee turned around now. The Warhammer finally goes down. I have two cord legs, but hanging in there, just continuously being that distraction for our team. Going for this Banshee now, going into his backside. He's not even turning around, and that Timberwolf looks like he turned around to try and help out his friend a little bit. I am out of machine gun ammo. I am out of SRM ammo. All I have is my LB-10 and this small pulse laser. Going for the kill on the Banshee, and we get him, and now my team is swarming in, getting these final kills, and there goes the end of the round, and we got the supply cache. A fantastic round of gameplay with the Bushwhackers. If that doesn't prove how fucking awesome these mechs are, I honestly don't know what is. I really, really don't. 3 kills, 5 assists, 6 KMDDs, 1040 damage with 8 components destroyed. You can tell in my voice how hyped I am for these mechs. I absolutely love the Bushwhackers, and when these guys come out on C-Bills, you guys better be the first ones in line to pick these guys up, because you're gonna have an absolute blast with them. Trust me when I tell you, they are fun, they are durable, they really pack a solid punch. We got a flank on them. They didn't know where it was coming from. We distracted them all, constant churning DPS, rocking the cockpit, just sending these guys into a frenzy. But you know what? We're still due for one more round of gameplay, so let's hop right back onto the battlefield and get some more shit done with the machete. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Third and final round is going to take place on Crimson Strait. And as you can see, we're about a minute and a half into the round here. Don't want to go through Walking Simulator 2017, so we're going to hop right into where the action starts to take place. I just wanted to give a little bit of context here with where my team is forming up. So we're going to head actually down the Charlie line from Charlie 6 into Charlie 5, Charlie 4. We do have a couple opponents there on the other side, but what we're going to do, especially me and this Bushwhacker, I am going to head over towards the city here, just in case they do have some scouts or something that are still over here from the beginning of the round, and pretty much just take them by surprise, maybe hunt them down if we can stick with them long enough, and maybe even get some kills. So we'll have to see what happens, but we're going to hold up here for just a second just to make sure that we at least have a little bit of support if we're going to make this kind of aggressive move. And right in front of us, we have a cicada, and the cicada is coming right at us, but it looks like he's turning around, getting that targeting information. He already has a cord center torso, so it looks like he's going to swing through the water there. Yeah, he's going this way, so we're going to try and maybe cut him off. Yeah, get another shot into him, maybe two. And we have 95 kph to work with, so he's probably popping around here. He comes right in front of us, and we get the kill. So that's a very, very early kill on the cicada. And now we're just going to form right back up into position. Took very minimal damage. We have this Arctic cheetah right in front of us, and three of us are focusing our efforts on this guy, trying to get him to retreat back. And he is accompanied by Gamma, this dragon. And now whipping around the corner, we actually have a night gear in the water as well. So there's three of them over here. We do have to be very careful, but we definitely have the tonnage to make a push on these guys and get them to retreat backwards. Gamma is actually retreating. He is going to leave his friend the Night Gear here, so the Night Gear is just sitting in the water. He's going to take a ton of abuse, probably going to go down very quickly. Cord center torso, going to go for the kill shots on these guys, maybe one or two more shots, and we got the kill on him as well. So that's two very early kills. The cheetah is retreating, the dragon has already retreated, and now we pretty much sealed off the flank, so we don't have any kind of threat that is coming in on a flank unless they have someone on the island. Now what we're going to do is we're going to peer around the corner. We've had some PPC fire coming in, but that's because a majority of our team is now grouping up in the Delta 4 quadrant, so we did attract a lot of attention from our opponents. We are accompanied by a grasshopper right in front of us and a gargoyle immediately to our left. So now we're going to make that push a little bit closer towards the platform here. I'm going to take the left side. My grasshopper friend is going to take the right side, just in case there is anything underneath the platform right here. And so far it looks clear. So it's 3-1, and there is no sign of where the rest of these guys are. We have one assault that popped up on the mini-map there, and yeah, was that a Victor? I think it was a Victor. And so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to push through the tunnel towards the big boys, because wherever the big boys are, you can guarantee that they have some mechs accompanying them. And so we're going to focus in on Delta right here, getting into his backside, and he goes down. I got the kill there. Now changing targets really quick, we're going to go for Foxtrot, who's also right in front of us, and he just took an absolute beating, along with that Marauder 2C that's right next to him. Foxtrot is coming into the side tunnel. I'm going to need some help from my friendlies here. They are focusing up on my torsos and everything, but like I said, this mech just continues to take a beating. Nothing is cored out, and finally we take down one of the guys outside of the side tunnel here. There is some smoke that went down, so instead of going directly into the fire, and this is a huge play right here, we're going to make our way through the back end of the tunnel and get them on a flank. That is the name of the game right now, and we have the speed to do it. 7-4 is the score right now. We're going to focus up on this King Crab, get right behind him. He has no idea we're right behind him, and we get the kill, so he goes down as well. It's now 8-5. I think I may have gotten a little bit of attention from the enemy team now. We're going to focus up on the Grasshopper because he's probably the biggest threat, but now a couple of them are turning around, including that Hunchback. But it looks like the Hunchback actually overheated, so now it's just a one-on-one with this Grasshopper unless the Hunchback comes back into play. And yes, now they're trying to double team on me, but I am not going to back down. I am not going to surrender. I'm going to hang in here the best I possibly can and brawl these guys out. The Hunchback goes down and the Grasshopper goes down. We got some help from our cheetah friend, and now it is 11-7. Only one more opponent is remaining, and right in front of us, we're actually regrouping with our friend the Grasshopper. He is firing back into the side tunnel here, so the guy has to be very close. One side, nope, he's not on that side, so that means he's on the other. And right in front of us, we have this Hellbringer. I have 2 core torsos, but I'm going to still go for the kill anyway, and we get the kill shot. We took off the other side of his torso, and he goes down to end the round. 12-7 is your final. An absolutely fantastic round. Definitely the best out of all of them. 5 kills, 6 assists, 8 components destroyed, 5 KMDTs with 1034 damage. Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen. There are really no words. There are no other words. And that Grasshopper did 1013 damage, so 2 of us went over 1,000 damage for the round. Absolutely incredible. I really have no other words to describe this mech other than absolutely epic. If you love brawling, you love speed, durability, and firepower, the 3 pillars to any mech that you should take into consideration on the battlefield, the Bushwhacker, it's really coming close to the top of that list here. But that's going to do it for the video. If you guys like the video, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description. Feel free to leave all of your comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions below. I absolutely had a fantastic time making this video. I hope you enjoyed the Machete version 2.0. It is a little bit of a mix-up of a build, but the name of the game here is constant, sustainable DPS, and you don't overheat. It's almost impossible to overheat, especially if you have a cool shot on there. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do hope you enjoy. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have given, not only on the channel, but this series in particular. These are my personal collection of custom builds that I've tinkered and tampered with and messed around with for the longest amount of time. So the support that you guys give to these videos, it means more than anything. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Thank you for all the support, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care, guys.